Hello, Broken Arrow. I'm City Manager Michael Spurgeon, and joining me is Emergency Management Director Jamie Ott. Jamie, how you doing?
Pretty good, sir.
Glad to have you today. Folks, we're coming to you to give you an update on the severe winter weather we're currently experiencing and expected to experience this weekend and early into next week, and also to give you an update on winter operations. First, I want to mention that the City of Broken Arrow is currently operating under a 24-hour winter weather response and will continue to do so until the threat of winter weather is in the rearview mirror, which we don't expect that to happen until sometime in the latter part of next week. At this time, I would like for Jamie Ott to provide us with some information on the latest weather forecast and some safety tips for everyone to consider. Jamie?
Yes, sir. Our partners at the Tulsa National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning for our immediate area. That is going to last until Tuesday morning. With that, we have the chance of 6 to 8 inches of snow. There will be lots of blowing snow with this system. This will be very difficult to measure. Some of the hazards with this that we could see will be hazards for motorists with slick roads, low visibilities, and exposure to cold temperatures. We really can't let the snow overshadow the dangers of the extremely cold wind chills that we'll be looking at this weekend. With the gusty north winds and throughout the event will result in the drifting and blowing snow on our city streets and roads, probably making them becoming impassable, especially our east-west roads. If you have to be out, one of the main concerns that we have is for frostbite. The frostbite could set in with these type of wind chills and temperatures that we're seeing, could set in as quick as 30 minutes, real quick. So you need to take care and bundle up. During the main part of the snow event, travel is going to be strongly discouraged once the heavier snow sets in. If you have to travel, please allow extra time to get to your destination. Drive slower. Leave plenty of space between you and the vehicle in front of you as you're driving. If you have to get out with your vehicle, have an emergency kit inside your vehicle with blankets, food. Have a charged battery pack for your cell phone. It is strongly recommended for that in case you get stranded somewhere. If you get into trouble out there inside your vehicles, just be aware that because of the road conditions and the strong wind conditions with the wind chills, it could be an extended amount of time before help can arrive. So please prepare yourself for that. If you have to venture outside, please watch your footing to help prevent the falls. Ice is still on many of the surfaces around the city. As you're walking out, it could be deceiving as you're walking, and really it's a slick surface and you could slip and fall, so it may not be a dry surface. Again, with this system coming up, power outages are a concern. I strongly recommend that you check the batteries in your NOAA weather radios, your portable AM/FM radios. Have your batteries backed up for your cell phone. Have more than one way of receiving weather information and local information that we may put out in case you do lose power. Have the portable radios and other means of receiving information. With the severe weather that we're looking at, just main thing is to be prepared and be ready. And with this, we are communicating with all of our partners countywide and regionally. We visited with our partners at PSO. They have extra crews coming in. They'll be on standby in case any concerns or issues happen. We have been visiting with our State Emergency Management Office and our regional partners, making sure we're all ready for this event coming up. And we just encourage you to stay tuned to your local media to get the latest update and information, and be safe and have your to-go kits ready to go if you have to venture out. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Folks, Jamie spends an incredible amount of time watching the weather. He's got a great team. Major Thomas Cooper spends a lot of time with Jamie watching the weather and making sure that we are prepared. So I want to thank you personally, Jamie, for all that you do for us to make sure that we are prepared. So now let's talk about some more specific updates that we have regarding city operations. First and foremost, let's go with the street department. The city street department crews, they will be plowing arterial roads and collector streets throughout the weekend when the snow starts, and they will be doing so until such time as all of those streets that I just mentioned are cleared. Now, I would like to point out that under the city's current policy, we do not go into the neighborhoods to do any plowing unless it's an emergency that's determined by the police or fire that we need to do so. So we will be plowing on the streets, the collectors, and the arterials. Please keep that in mind, and that's one of the reasons why we're asking you to stay at home as much as possible. Next, I want to mention the city does have 15 trucks and plow spreaders that are ready to clear the roads. Rocky Hinkle and his team are doing a great job so far. We will have department personnel working on essentially 12-hour shifts approximately throughout this entire event to make sure that all the roads are taken care of for us. Next, let me mention something about salt and sand. I think this is very important. When we think about salt, obviously you always hear about putting salt down. Well, salt is not effective when there is accumulated snow. What we're going to do is we're actually going to plow the roads, and then when we finish plowing them, we'll be putting the sand down and salt where we need to make sure everybody has good traction. Once again, a lot of people have this misperception about what salt and sand are supposed to do, and hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarification. I'd also like to point out that this is very important that once again our arterials and our collector roadways, they're important. Also our hospital. We have to make sure that the roads leading up to our hospitals are clear and able to get anybody that needs to go to the hospital there. I also want to mention that we will have a standby crew ready for responses to any traffic signal problems, fallen trees, and debris that may get into the street. So if that happens, we do have a rapid ready crew that will be ready to go out and take care of those areas. Let me mention this, is that Highway 51 and the Creek Turnpike are maintained by the Oklahoma Department of Transportation and Turnpike Authority respectively. As a result, we don't take care of those roads. So whenever there is an incident, once we find out about it, we will actually contact that entity, whether it is the Turnpike Authority, the State Department of Transportation. In some cases, we have county roads within our jurisdiction, and if that's the case, we'll let the county know and ask them to come out and help us take care of that situation. Next thing I'd like to point out is in the area of emergency medical services. This is extremely important. Jamie talked about the conditions that we are currently experiencing and are going to be experiencing, and they're very severe. So emergency medical services is extremely important. Let me give you a little bit of background here. On a normal day, according to Chief Jeremy Moore, the fire department responds to approximately 35 calls for medical services. Due to the icy conditions yesterday, Thursday, the Broken Arrow Fire Department responded to 110 calls for service, and 59 of those were for falls from slipping on the ice. Most of these were people putting their trash out, picking up their mail or newspaper, or anything they were doing around their home. So it's very serious. Last night, Chief Moore made a very quick video reminding all citizens of the hazardous conditions going outside their home and the effect they have on emergency medical services. So at this time, as a part of this update, we're going to show you that video by Chief Moore.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Moore, your Broken Arrow Fire Chief, and I'm shooting this quick video to ask all of our Broken Arrow residents to consider staying inside throughout this cold season and throughout this weekend. Today, our emergency medical services, our ambulances, have been extremely taxed with slips and falls. We've made more slips and falls today than we usually make all winter long, and because of that, it has led to exceptionally long delays in getting ambulances to our citizens. So over the next few days, we know we're going to have bitter cold temperatures, and we're going to continue to see a lot of ice on our streets, and most of the calls for slips and falls that we're making are residents on their sidewalks or in their driveways. So I encourage you, if you can, just to stay inside your house, because this is a very dangerous time for all of our citizens. So thank you for your continued support in that, and please stay safe and stay warm out there. Chief
Moore, thank you for that great video. As the Chief says, it's please use extreme caution if you have to go outside. If you can, please stay indoors and continue to do so until we get through this very, very serious winter event that we're experiencing. Now, let's touch on something that is very important to all of us, and that is solid waste collections. Obviously, due to the inclement weather conditions that we're experiencing, we have some situations where we're not going to be able to pick up trash or recycling on time for the next few days. Services could run a little bit longer, like right now, and I'm going to mention this in just a minute or two. We have some areas of the community that have not been picked up. A lot of those have to do with areas where it's simply just the roads are too steep, because of the ice, they're inaccessible, and it's just not safe to put those large trucks on the neighborhood roadways to try to pick up the trash. It's just not worth the risk to the drivers or to personal property or life in the area with the trash trucks. So I'm asking everyone to please be patient as we try to collect the trash in a very safe manner, but please rest assured that we will get to it as soon as we can. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are several neighborhoods in our community that have not been picked up completely as of this time. It's about 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So first off, we're going to be sending out a robocall to those areas. Some folks may have been picked up on their regular date this week. Some have not. So we're going to send this robocall out to everyone, and let me mention those areas where they could be receiving a robocall. First off, it's Swan Lake. Next, we have Stonewood Crossing cul-de-sacs, Cambridge, parts along the dead-end streets and the hills. We also have New Tulsa. There are 2 streets in New Tulsa that need to be collected. Covington Estates, the Highlands, Steeplechase, Joanna Woods, Kenwood Hills, Stonewood Crossings, and the Pines. Okay, this gives me an opportunity to mention, if you're not signed up to receive a robocall from the city, there's going to be a website on the screen that you can go to get signed up to be in the robocall system. And I encourage everyone to do so, because that's a great way for us to put out information to you about what's going on with the community in such instances as we're dealing with right now. I also want to mention that Monday is President's Day, and as a result, the city offices are going to be closed. However, the police and fire departments will be open. Now, normally on a holiday, we actually don't collect trash on that day, and then everything gets pushed. Well, that's the same thing that's going to happen next week. However, because we're actually slow and not picking up like we normally would, there could be delays next week. So please look for updates on our website or social media platforms about collection. I know that's important to everybody, but we definitely want to do it in the most safest way possible, so please bear with us. So the next thing I want to mention is Public Works, our utility department, and our street department. We will have crews, as I mentioned earlier, for emergency repairs, as well as to go out and to remove anything that gets into the roadway. We do this on the weekends all the time. If in fact there's an issue that needs to be reported, you can do so by contacting the police non-emergency line, and that number is 918-259-8400. That number will be on the screen. Once again, if you have an issue, please call the non-emergency line and we'll get out there as quickly as we can. In the area of public safety, once again, our police and fire departments have made all the necessary arrangements that they need to be ready for the weather that we're going to experience this weekend. As Chief Moore reported earlier, our fire department has been extremely busy this week, and we ask everyone to try to stay indoors as much as you can. If you have to get out, please be safe, because obviously we've had a high call volume as a result of those unfortunate slip and falls that have happened. Okay, let me take this opportunity to talk about the COVID-19 resources. We recently announced earlier this week that on February 16th, 2021, the City of Broken Arrow will open the first local COVID-19 vaccination site here in the community. The clinic, it's a partnership with Passport Health. It will be held at our public safety complex every week starting February 16th through April 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday, except on city holidays. Please note that this coming Monday, February 15th, as I mentioned earlier, is a city holiday, so we won't be open. The clinic is open to anyone who meets the current state vaccination phase requirements. Appointments are required and must be made in advance on the Passport registration website. Appointment dates for each week of the clinic will be loaded to the portal the preceding Friday at 9 a.m. We will be monitoring weather for the next week, and we'll make updates online if clinic is canceled or postponed. Now, I'd like to say, if we're able to get at least one nurse that's going to be administering the shots, we're going to try to make sure that the clinic will be open next week, because we know this is extremely important. So once again, watch for updates on if in fact there's going to be any delayed start time, or if we're going to have to cancel the clinic, unfortunately. Now, moving into other city services, there's a whole host of city services that the city provides. On the screen, you're going to see the city's website address that you can go to find out more about those services that we provide. Very important to check our website. I'd also like to mention that there is the regular city council meeting scheduled for February 16th. I've already notified the city council that because of the weather, there may be a need to actually reschedule that meeting to a time when everyone can attend. Now, this is very important because there are a couple of items on the agenda that I know a lot of folks in our community are very interested in, and so just be aware. We'll give you the updates. Check our website, look for our social media platforms. If that meeting has to be rescheduled, it will probably be rescheduled sometime the week of February 23rd. So just look for those updates. I want to make sure everybody can get to all city council meetings at all times, but especially because I know there's a lot of interest in this one. I also want to mention, here's a plug for our Action Center. Residents can report non-emergency issues to the city's Action Center online at www.actioncenterba.com or on the mobile app. If you search for Action Center Broken Arrow in the Android or Apple Store, those issues can be monitored. If you download it, then you can actually report an issue, and then you'll get an update from the city exactly what's happening with the issue that you reported. And here's the final thing I want to mention, and this is so very important in this particular time of such severe weather, is the other community resources. And Jamie and I were talking about this right before we basically started this video. For basic services such as food, clothing, shelter, transportation, or more, residents can call 211 or visit www.211oklahoma.org. It's very important. There's so many great services that are out there. Jamie and I were talking about, once again, we encourage anyone to reach out if you need those services. Jamie mentioned it early, power outages. Excuse me. If you have an outage, or if you want to view the status of an outage, you can get on the PSO website at www.psoklahoma.com/outages. I'll say that one more time. It'll be on the screen because I want to say it for my own, because I didn't get it right the first time. www.psoklahoma.com/outages. Once again, it'll be on the screen for those folks that would like to utilize it. And if you have a question about Oklahoma highway conditions, you can reach out to the Oklahoma Department of Transportation to find out at www.okroads.org. Once again, that website will be on the screen for folks to utilize. All right, we're just about ready to wrap up. Jamie, is there anything that you would like to add at this time?
Just as we enter into the weekend, as we're coming up on Sunday when the major part of the snowstorm is going to happen, I encourage you to watch and listen to the local radio and TV stations to try and keep updated on any changes that may happen with the severe weather. And again, have your go kits ready inside your vehicles or your homes if anything happens. And I just ask you to be safe this weekend.
Thank you, Jamie. Once again, I appreciate all that you're doing. Let me just wrap up here by saying that just be careful this weekend. It's going to be cold, there's going to be snow, and let's all get through this together. Speaking of together, I think it's important, if we get the chance, let's check on our friends, let's check on our family, and most importantly, our neighbors. And one of the things that's very important to me and a lot of people, it's our furry family members, our dogs and cats. Luna doesn't even like to go outside right now. It's so cold. So I know there's a lot of other dogs and cats that feel the exact same way. Let's make sure we bring them inside and let's take care of them. There's a lot of other animals that are outside. Let's make sure that we're taking care of them, make sure they got water to drink, breaking up the ice and so forth. But let's don't forget our furry family members, as I like to say, and taking care of them as well. You can check our Facebook page and other social media sites at approximately 4 p.m. each day during this event. To get the latest update. Jennifer Sweezy and her team do an outstanding job of providing information on what's happening, so please check for an update every day at approximately 4 o'clock, and we'll let you know what's going on. If necessary, based on the weather conditions, Jamie and I and any other department directors or our elected officials may come back as needed to provide you with additional information. Until then, stay safe, stay warm, and take care, Broken Arrow. Thank you.